Hello and welcome back to the WHL Show. This is a special Christmas edition because Christmas is in 2 days. Episode. We are we're streaming a little bit early this week, both because of the holidays and also because I have hockey practice I have to go to after this. So we are timing it because of that. We this week, because of the holidays, are going to have a little bit different than what you guys may be a little bit used to. Instead of doing our normal player like standings and rankings and stats and recaps on all that fun stuff, we are only going to cover players of the week, and then we're going to bring on a special guest, Dawson Petryshen. Dawson, forgive me if I butcher that, but we're going to bring them on in just a minute here to talk Oil Kings hockey and also just dub hockey in general. Have a fun little chat, and then once we are back next week, we're going to be back to our regular format. If you are listening to this on Spotify or rewatching this on YouTube later on, welcome and thank you for tuning in. We last week, I didn't realize that the upload for last week's episode didn't actually upload to Spotify. So if you are a Spotify listener, you're going to get 2 episodes in 1 week because I didn't realize it didn't upload. So sorry. Yes, this week we are going to start off with our players of the week. We have our goalie of the week, player of the week, and rookie of the week. Let me make sure I'm on the right thing here. Yeah, I nearly read off the stats for November. So would not have worked. Okay. So I will go ahead and have Adrian, if you want to start with our player of the week, and then you can do rookie, and then we're going to close out with goalie, and then we're going to bring Dawson on, and we're going to talk some Oil Kings hockey info stuffs. Go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, so our player of the week is Moose Jaw Warriors forward Riley Kovacevic, and he helped the Warriors win the champion last year. Whatever. He recorded 4 points in 1 game last week, and Moose Jaw won that game 5-4 in a shootout victory against Brandon. He leads all Warriors in goals with 20, and this is the first season that he's reached the 20-goal plateau. He's got 33 points. He's already reached a career high in only 27 games.
Yeah, and he's only second in points. Like he's only second in points on the Warriors. I think lack of it is That's really cool. Tanner, who is our rookie of the week?
The rookie of the week is Parker Rondo. Not butchering that, I hope. From Swift Current. He got 2 points and a +2 rating in 1 game this week, and that was their 5-4 road win against Red Deer on the 17th. He's second among all Broncos rookies in scoring with 2 goals, 4 assists in 25 games, and his goal was the game winner on said game, and it was the first game-winning goal of his career and also his first multi-point game in his career. This is his first full season in the WHL, so good for him.
Good for him. Our goalie of the week is Prince Albert Raiders goalie Max Hildebrand. He was named goalie of the week for this last week and went with a how many games did he play last week? He played 1 game and had a 2.00 goals against average and a .941 save percentage with a 32 save game and a 5-2 victory against the Edmonton Oil Kings on Tuesday, December 17th. He had a really solid game the entire game. He turned aside all 12 shots that he saw in the first period. In the second period, he did see 2 power play goals scored against him. But the third period, he had another shutout period, which was great. Stopped all 14 shots in the third. They had a 3-goal effort from the skaters in front of Hildebrand, as well as, is that right? Hold on. Yeah, with the in the third period. They had a 5-2 victory over the Oil Kings. Right now, Hildebrand is having a really solid 2024-2025 season. He has a 13.630 record, a 3.31 goals against average, and a .908 save percentage, and so far 1 shutout. He is his career best was last season, 2023-2024. where he went 25, 20, 2 with a 2.88 goals against average and a .907 save percentage and 2 shutouts. So he's already close to having beating his shutouts career best, and he's numbers are looking pretty good. So as we said, really fast, not even 5 minutes into the done with that intro. So heck yeah. Keep an eye out for next week's episode because, as we know, World Juniors starts on December 26th on Boxing Day, the day right after Christmas. I will be covering Team Canada for Area 51 Sportsnet, so look out for coverage and articles and all that fun stuff relating to Team Canada and specifically a little bit of a highlight on the WHL players, and we will do a recap over that. And we'll also talk about the dub players who are not only on Team Canada, talk about the other teams as well next episode, so that'll be a little bit more in depth then, so tune in next Monday for that. And yeah, now we're going to bring on another comedian, Dawson.
Hello.
So this is going to be a fun week because we have Dawson here. Dawson, I'm going to have you do most of your intro, but little disclaimer here. We've had this almost exact same conversation when the show was starting, and then technical things happened, and then I ended up not using the interview. So thank you for being flexible and having the same chat with me yet again. And also with new people this time, so super fun. I am also the only American in this stream, so you guys have a little bit of a leg up on me when it comes to Oil Kings because you're a lot closer to them, Dawson especially. And I've only seen them play once in person, I think ever. So was it ever? Yeah, I want to say ever. So that's really fun. But yeah, Dawson, go ahead and give us an introduction of who you are and how long you've been writing and what you do and all that fun stuff.
Heck yeah. I also find it really funny that I'm pretty sure the only time that you have seen the Oil Kings play live, I was also there for that game.
You were also there, exactly. It was Winter Hawks and came down in, what was it, October?
Yeah, it was like that week.
Yeah.
It was a good game. I enjoyed it.
It was fun.
All right, so about me, hooray! I love talking about myself. So I I took a bit of a break, but I started originally with Area 51 in the 21-22 season. Did that for a whopping 3.5 weeks, and then life got in the way, whatever. And then this past summer, I was reached out to by a good colleague of mine, and it was like, hey, how serious are you about getting back into writing? I'm like, pretty freaking serious. And it was like, how would you like to cover the WHL for the hockey news? And I was like, that sounds great. So that is what most of my time has been sunk into over the last several months. I've had the opportunity to again go to Portland, catch a couple of Winterhawks games, a bunch of Oil Kings games, obviously living in Edmonton, and not as much traveling around the league as I would like, but that'll come with time. But I think as far as the first few months have gone, it's been great, and I've had a handful of good chats with some personalities around the league.
Heck yeah. We had a really great chat last time, so I'm excited to have that same basic chat again. It was really good. We got some good insights on especially the prospects and such. I feel like you do a really good job of that aspect of looking at the up and coming players into the dub and to the Oil Kings especially. But we have some talking points listed out, and then we're kind of just going to bounce off of those and just have a little quick chat about those. So for the Oil Kings, it'll be a little bit different now that we're a lot further into the season. We're closer to halfway done with the season than we were when at the beginning, obviously. But what has been your impression of the team this season? How are they performing compared to the start of the season? Are they on an uphill trend? Are they kind of plateauing? What is your perspective there?
I think the beginning of the season, they got off to a bit of a rocky start. Losing, I think it was three of their first 4 games, I believe it was. But they've really turned a corner. You know, what head coach Luke Pierce is doing. You know, they've really come around, and while, you know, they may not currently be a powerhouse in the WHL like a Saskatoon, like an Everett, like a whoever. They're really coming together as a team, and you know, the top guys are really being their top guys, as well as getting, you know, some depth scoring as well. So it's been really nice to see, especially since the fall off from the 2022 championship run was, I think, a lot steeper than even, you know, most people would believe.
You mentioned the top guys doing what they're doing, you know, showing up for the team. Who are those top guys?
Well, unless you have been living under a rock, the top guy for Edmonton right now, very clearly, is Grayson Sauchin, Florida Panthers prospects. Absolutely unbelievable this year. Him and Gavin Hodnett both, and Hodnett, I've been championing for him to be drafted or signed to an NHL team since like the beginning of last year. But like those two together have been great. They've had some highlight reel plays, but Sauchin especially, like there could be a criticism of him doing a little bit too much, but it works a lot more often than it doesn't. And like and also bringing that leadership role as well. You know, wearing an A this year alongside Hodnett, who wears the C. He's very much been a great presence in that locker room, and he's been great ever since they traded for him.
Adrian, I'm going to turn this question over to you. Who has been a player on the Oil Kings that has stood out to you this season?
Oh goodness, I feel like Worthington, their goalie. I've heard a lot about him, and you know, I've only managed to catch a couple games. I went 2-1 in Edmonton against the Blades, of course, and then they've been out a couple times, and it's been seeing him and watching him play. I love a goalie. I love me a goalie. That's kind of all I'll say, and I've really liked him so far. And of course, we were talking earlier before this, I guess, about Colby Hay and how much I miss him, and it's really nice to see that their goaltending is, I guess, you're still really good and still someone to enjoy watching and to love.
Tanner, what about you? Who's a player that you've been liking to see this year?
Oh, you took my answer with Worthington. If we're talking, you know, skill wise, I've always been a big fan of Marshall Finney. So I just think he's really fun to watch. I mean, you know, whether he's, you know, the highest scorer on the team or whatever, I think he's fun to watch. Which is,
Underdog players are always important. I feel like that's a good aspect, good thing to the game. Dawson, who is an underrated player on the team who maybe is like he's not really getting a lot of attention that you think should be getting some more?
Honestly, that could be like probably about 2/3 of this roster, if I'm being completely honest. Like despite being from Edmonton, they don't get talked about nearly enough. That could also be a little bit of bias, but I think one guy that I think should be getting more attention than he is, Miroslav Holinka. You know, Maple Leafs draft pick. I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of this acquisition just because I hadn't really seen him play before, but he seems to be continuing to improve every game. In the last game he played before, you know, going down with injury for a few games and now representing Team Czechia at the World Juniors, he had played probably, I mean, the best period of his life that I'd seen him play up to that point before going down in the first period. But him, as well as, man, running through this roster, Ethan McKenzie as well, just to name one other one. He's been fantastic this year. Missed, I don't know, I think it was like 2/3 of last season at least due to injury. Hoping, you know, for his sake, somebody picks him up in the draft next June as an overager. I think he completely deserves it. He's come back as a brand new player in the best way possible. He can hit, he can skate, he can shoot. Well, he has 1 goal this year, but he can shoot when it does get through. And and you know, they don't call him Mac Truck for nothing. He can throw it around.
He's a big guy. Love it. Who remind me who their like tightest rivalry is? Who's their main rival?
I would say right now it's probably like Medicine Hat, and
Yeah.
in the future, if the game on Tuesday was any indication, Prince Albert's going to be up there pretty soon.
Yeah, that makes sense. For Medicine Hat, how have they fared against them this season?
It's been. I'll have a quick look at the schedule. They did drop the first game 4-2. That was all the way back in September, the second game of the year. It's been kind of back and forth between the two, some high scoring games, some low scoring games. The most recent, Edmonton winning that one 7-4 in Medicine Hat.
Dang.
And that one, goals were scored in kind of blocks. Edmonton had the first two, Medicine Hat had 4, and then Edmonton just scored the next 5 because they wanted to.
Yeah, so they wanted to. So the as I mentioned earlier, you're really like one of your strong suits is looking at the prospects and who is an up and coming player for the team. Who like give me a couple names and tell me a bit about who are some good Oil Kings prospects.
Okay, I will lead. I will lead with the one that has played games this season. Caden Strader, out of Saskatchewan, their first round pick this past season. He's played in 3 games, totaling just 1 assist, but he hasn't looked out of place. And as a 15-year-old, this season, unless your name is Landon Dupont, it is difficult to stand out as a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And I think he's done just that. Like, he's done what he's needed to do. Obviously, he's not going to play the entire season. He'll probably get maybe a couple more games while they wait for their World Juniors guys to get back. But super, dynamic. I think he's a playmaking guy that has, the skill to get around a lot of guys. And to appease the goaltending fans, they did take one goalie that I did like, and keep in mind that not a goaltending expert by any means, but they did draft a guy who I think is a super cool name, Rail Scholar, out of Calgary, and he's not a very big guy.
Is it spelled the way that it sounds?
Schoollar.
Oh, there's 2 L's. Okay.
Yes.
Dude. He's a baby.
Yeah, not 920 save percentage in 10 games at the U17 level this season, a 923 in his lone U18 AAA appearance. And honestly, Edmonton is in good hands goaltending wise, despite trading away or releasing, Colby Hay at the start of this year.
The super off topic, but just as a goalie nerd, I'm looking at his elite prospects, and I don't know if that's going to translate really well, but his gear looks really cool.
I love the North Stars.
His gear looks really cool. I love
so
his
much.
setup. His pads are sick, and I love how the green on the stick corresponds with his colors, and the pads and the helmet are the yellow as the accents of the jerseys. Mwah. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Shut up, Minnesota.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love when goalie gear like really works, because my gear right now I'm playing with different colored glove and blocker, and then like my helmet's plain white, but then my pads are blue and my blocker and glove are red, and so it's just like, oh my god, so many colors. One day I'll get a cohesive look. It'll be great. And then about their like coaching staff, tell me a bit about like what the coaching staff looks like, how they've been doing this year, how you think that they're like, what their approach is from your perspective.
They've had I think I mentioned Luke Pierce doing some great work with this team, the team that he's been given, and as well general manager Kurt Hill doing some fantastic work trading for Rylan Worsma earlier this season, which was also an acquisition that I don't think anybody really saw coming, but it's paid dividends for them so far.
Right.
But as far as the actual coaching approach, I think they've really gotten the team to buy into their system, which, your typical pre 2007-8 Edmonton style of hockey, which is just hard nosed with a bit with enough skill to get you by, but it's going to be the heart and the work ethic that really gets you through those tough games.
Yeah. We're gonna pivot the combo a little bit just to overall dub hockey, not necessarily Oil Kings. But what teams like in general over the league have kind of surprised you this season? Whether in terms of like they're performing lower than you expected, or maybe are doing really well that you weren't quite expecting. Tell me about that.
One of them, I'm going to say, if you would ask me this, well, I mean, you did, but if you would have asked me this, like a couple of months ago, or at the beginning of the season, I should say, I would have said Medicine Hat has kind of disappointed per se, but I mean, they've bounced back. The one that has surprised me in a good way, Saskatoon. They like not that I expected them to be like a bottom feeder team by any means, but they've really shown that they can, for lack of better phrasing, that they can play hockey, and their youth has really come through in a big way, and also again championing a movement, the acquisition per se of German forward David Lewandowski. He's been great. He's not going to put up 2 points a game, but I think he's been a fantastic addition. And also, 2 words: Evan Gardner.
Evan Gardner. 3 words: Evan freaking Gardner.
that's about all I have to say about that.
Self-explanatory. Oh my god, that kid is good. Obviously, Adrian and Tanner, you guys go to so many Blades games, so you have a lot like more. Like they're a good team that you can talk about. I know that there's been some ups and downs over the season, so tell me a little bit about like how they're playing and maybe what you think that could be a good focus for them to have going into the new year.
Ooh, I could talk about this for hours.
Do it.
Well, I think everyone kind of expected not as great of a start as they had, considering, I mean, there was before everyone got traded away and let go, there was 12 overagers on our roster starting after last season. And, we lost a lot of really big names, whether it was, Von Waterroot, like Austin Elliott eventually. Like, it's been tough, and we have so many rookies. And if the preseason was anything to go off of, it was looking tough. They won one of 4 or 5 preseason games they ended up playing. But I think the rookies are, so good, thankfully. I don't know. There's a lot that could be worked on. The end of the first half was tough to watch for everyone. But I don't think that everyone should give up just yet, because it's the Blades. They're, not the worst team around.
Definitely not. They're very resilient, which is good. I feel like we have a good, and I mean, we also do have a scary trade deadline coming up, so that could affect not only the Blades but just like all teams, and that's like terrifying to think about. So that's going to be a really fun week of podcast to talk about. So, oh my gosh, brace yourselves for that. That's going to be a lot of movement. So much. And luckily, last year they did like a tracker that like one article where they would like update like who is going where, which was really helpful. So hopefully they do that again and we don't have to do it manually. Because oh my gosh, there was a lot of movement last year, and there is every year. But Adrian, what about you? Is there anything that like you think that the team could focus on specifically going into the new season, the Blades specifically?
I think it's kind of evident that objectively, I feel like we started out the season as a team that hit more and like finished checks. And I feel like that was something that people kind of noticed, that I guess we've had a coaching change since last season. Felt like we hit a lot less last season, and we were kind of just getting beat up, to put it plainly. When you're in a Prince Albert, Moose Jaw, Prince Albert, you kind of get pushed around, and sometimes they were not very good at pushing back. And I feel like at the beginning of the season, we were really good at pushing back. Not that we've seen Prince Albert yet, but that's to come. And I feel like they've kind of let off the gas and are getting pushed around again. And that's something they can work on, and not passing to the other team.
Yeah, that's a little important.
Yeah, it's been a little tough lately, but like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of some things to work on, is actually looking where they pass before they do it, and using the body more. We've lost, like Tim was saying, we've lost a lot of guys like John Babcock and Von Waterroot. They, pushed and pushed and pushed. And so I feel like, I mean, a whole lot of these guys, Tyler Parr, Morgan Testad, they've really upped their game.
Yeah.
And so I feel like if we keep on trucking like that and keep on trucking, then there might be some more improvement. I mean, we haven't won a game in December yet. You know, there's
Dang.
still one more. So I mean, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a lot of effort and a lot more focus, I think.
Goodness. Dawson, going back to the Oil Kings, what are some games that you're looking forward to? Some like rivalries that you're looking forward to seeing?
Some games that I'm looking forward to. They looking at the schedule right now. They for fans of the Hurricanes, they see a gosh darn lot of Lethbridge to begin 2025. Three games in 3 days. The first of those in Lethbridge, and then the following 2 in Edmonton.
That is so.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, if I have one, I don't know if I call it a gripe, but one confusion I have with the WHL, is their scheduling, just because it doesn't make a lot of sense a lot of the time.
And I mean, to be fair, they do also have to like work around conflicts with like the specific arenas, because like sometimes they have different events with different arenas. So like I can understand the conflicts there, but like especially when it's like, okay, we're playing Lethbridge 3 or 4 games in a row, like whoa.
Case in point, the Western U.S. road trip that they all have to do, like that just sounds nightmarish for everybody involved.
Yeah, so many games in such a little time, and back to back.
But yeah, the 2 games that I'm looking forward to the most are January 8th and January 10th. They play host to Saskatoon and Prince Albert, respectively. Both of those teams I've kind of fallen in love with for different reasons. Saskatoon, Saskatoon is just a good team, and I do like good teams. And then Prince Albert, I absolutely adore their 08 and 09 group. They will be obviously they're going to lose a lot of their heavy hitter guys in the next couple of years, but they will be a very good team, and that usually is what happens when you draft 3 times in the top 10 in one season.
Goodness me. Had a little bit of an advantage there, just a little. Just a little. Tan and Adrian, I don't really whichever one of you have want to answer this, but for it's basically the same question, but for Blades, like what are some games coming up that you're excited for?
Yeah,
I feel like I should have the schedule like imprinted.
I can tell you that
but I don't.
Moose Jaw's in town this Friday. Then they see the Pats on Saturday. Then they're in Prince Albert on the 30th. And then Prince Albert's there on the New Year's Day in Saskatoon. So that one is going to be a fun one for me to watch, at least. That's one that I'm excited for, is to see not only the first Prince Albert game on the 30th, like when they're in PA, but also when it comes to Saskatoon on New Year's Day. Because New Year's Eve and New Year's Day games are always really fun to watch. And especially when they're between like 2 really tight rivals. So that's gonna be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I think I'm excited. I mean, mixed feelings, but excited for some fun hockey with them playing Prince Albert again. And they play them. I mean, considering they haven't played them once in the first half of the season, they're gonna be seeing a lot of each other in like a shorter period of time, which if any past Blades and Raiders series have shown, they get pretty
gnarly,
intense. Yeah. It's always fun to watch, though. So I think
literally like the games that I went to when I visited you guys in March. I want to say it was March.
Yeah.
It was like mostly PA that I saw, and it was like, goodness me. And I was like, kind of back to that like scheduling qualms. You know, it's like why like you would think that PA would be a much like, you know, like it's one of their main rivals is Saskatoon. You would think that they would see them a lot sooner than December 30th, halfway into the season. It's just crazy. After the winter break, like they don't even see him like the first half at all, which is fascinating and quite interesting. But it's where we're at. Yeah, and then we have just like normal schedules. Winterhawks wise, on my end of the world. That's not what I meant to say. In my like my world. Thank you. That's basically what I was looking for. My neck of the woods. We have a really fun New Year's Eve game against the Silvertips, which is that I-5 rivalry. So it'll be a really cool seeing the silver tips come down for the New Year's Eve game. That is on a Tuesday, and I really hope that I can make it to that. I'm hoping so. New Year's Eve games are always really fun. I'm like 99% sure there's a post-game skate there too, so fans have the opportunity to skate with either. They've done it with the team in years past, so I'm assuming it would be with the team again. And so that's always super fun. And then they have like a little bit off, and then they see Spokane. Not a little off. I don't know what I'm saying. They have Spokane in on that next Thursday. Also, oh my God, we're almost in 2025. Let's just that's crazy. Christmas is in 2 days, and oh my God, the 2025 is next week. I don't know how. No, I do know how to feel about that, and it's terror. Not really.
Yeah.
I'm being dramatic. But it's like, oh my gosh, time flies. But that also means that my birthday's coming up really soon. So and I don't even. There's like no games on my birthday though, because it's on a middle of the Tuesday.
There's games on Tuesday sometimes.
Not this year, and not for me. There's like a Blades game that Sunday. And then like the Wild are going up to Saskatoon. So I'll just jump on the Wild bus and go watch that for
Good
Yeah,
luck.
you can stay here in the basement.
Yeah, perfect. That'd be great. Perfect.
Or you can sleep in my car in the SaskTel Center parking lot. Either or.
That's so swell. We also have
Exactly.
then we also have like Medicine Hat is in town for that weekend, my birthday weekend, for Portland. So I don't know, maybe go to a Winterhawks game. I don't know, we'll see. But yes, that just about does it. We are again super short Christmas episode. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year, all that fun stuff. Terrifying. We will have an episode right before 2025, which again is terrifying. But we will have an episode next Monday on the 30th, which is also coincidentally the same day that the Blades face the Raiders for the first time this season. So we'll be able to, if we time that right, we'll be able to see a little bit of live reporting there on how they're doing. But again, World Juniors is coming up this week on Thursday. I'm covering Team Canada for A51. So just follow me on Twitter for both live tweeting and articles, and then coverage on the show after. So that'll be fun. And then we'll also talk a little bit about those the other dub players who are not on Team Canada next episode as well. Follow Dawson on Twitter. I've had his little username scrolling across the screen, so feel free to check that out. It is down below. P7 Sports on Twitter /X. And you can follow them there for that. And then we have Adrian and Tanner's and my information all on the screen. And then if you are listening to that, if you're listening to this episode on Spotify, all of our information is in the Spotify description. So feel free to check us out. Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in today. It was a much chiller of an episode, not a lot of fanfare, but it's also Christmas. So I feel like that's kind of all the fanfare that we need. Everybody is gearing up for the holidays, and it's gonna be a great holiday season. Thank you, Dawson, for coming on with me and coming on with us this week, having us a little fun chat about Oil Kings and WHL hockey. And then, of course, always thank you to Adrian and Tanner for being great co-hosts. And make sure you follow us in all the places and keep an eye out for World Juniors coverage. I think that's about it.
Woo.
Woo! Farewell and so long.
Time for the awkward waving.
I literally, it always does this. I hit in stream.